Okay, so let's do an ALEKS topic together. The question comes to us, how do we report an answer if we get a measurement from two other measurements? For example, if I want to know moles per liter, and I have to measure moles and liters separately, how do I report that number right there as a scientist if I'm trying to communicate this to other people? Or another way to ask that is, if I'm trying to get a speed, meters per second, and I measure meters as 234, whatever, 4 sig figs, and seconds into 2 sig figs, how do I report that number right there? That's the question, and it's a good question. Let me get rid of all of that. It turns out it's not just a convention, it's something that's not arbitrary. It feels arbitrary when you're new to it, but we're going to look at this and just get the answer, and then perhaps after you've done a bunch of them, you'll appreciate why we do it like that. All right, so let's do the first one. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to click explanation. By the way, this is just a screenshot, so I can't really click on these buttons here, but I'm going to pretend like I'm clicking in the explanation. And the explanation says that the product or quotient, the sig figs of the product, the sig figs of the product or quotient is going to be equal to the less of the factors. I'm going to say min of the factors. That's really not helping, is it? Let's do this. Let's do an example. I'm going to blow this up a little bit. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say, how many sig figs does this first number have? And I'm going to make this in a different color for the sake of the notes. And I'm going to say this number here has got 4 sig figs in it. And this one also has 4 sig figs in it. Okay? So this number is going to have 4 sig figs in it. So I'm going to put this in my calculator, get a number, and it's going to be 4 sig figs. No big deal. This one's got 4 sig figs in it. This one only has 2 in it. So which is less, 4 or 2? Well, 2 is less. And so the quotient is going to have only 2 sig figs in it. Let's do the same thing here. This one's got, for this last one, this one's got 3 sig figs in it. And this one only has 2 sig figs in it. So what's less, 3 or 2? Well, the answer, of course, is 2. So I'm gonna do that and say that this answer is going to have 2 sig figs in it. All right, so I'm going to go to another. I'm just doing this on an iPad, so this is going to be a little bit ugly. I'm going to go find 941.4 times 43.64. Let me get my calculator out. I know I got a calculator in here somewhere. There we are. Okay. So what was the number? It was 941.4 clear 941.4 times 43 something times 43.64 times 43.64 equals, okay, so it's going to be a lot of numbers. Okay, that's a little overwhelming. 41,082,696. See if I can remember that. 41,000, let's put this in blue now. 41,082.696. Did I get that right? Yep, I sure did. Okay. So I can only put this to 4 sig figs. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so the easiest way to do this is report this in scientific notation. I'm going to go 41,082.696 is the same thing as 4.1082696 times 10 to the, and it's a big number, so let me do positive, 1, 2, 3, 4, times 10 to the 4. Okay, and if I have 4 sig figs, the 8 is the last one I can report. So I'm going to report this as, this is what I'm going to, oops, let me get rid of that. I'm going to report this, I'll put my answer in red, 4.108 times 10 to the 4. Okay, that's how that's going to go in there. And let's do this next one. What I encourage you to do is to pause the video and do it without me, and then see if you get the same thing I get. All right, so it's going to be 234.4, clear, 234.4, divided by 234.4.76 divided by 0.76 equals 308.421 and so on. 308.421. Oh, forgot the number. 308.421. That's going to give me a little bit messy here. This is part 2. 234.4 divided by something is going to be 308.201. 421. 421 and so on, right? That was 0.76. And so I can only have 2 sig figs here. Okay. So I'm going to rewrite this as scientific notation. This is going to be 3.08421 times 10 to that's a big number. So this is going to be positive 1, 2 times 10 to the 2. Okay. So how do I report that? I'm going to go back to red. I'm going to say this is going to be 3.1 because that's going to round up, right? Times 10 to the 2. Okay, so here's my answer for part 1. Here's my answer for part 2. Let's do part 3 now. And that's going to be 2 sig figs also. 78.1. Clear. 78.1 times, I think it was, 23. That'd be hard to forget. Times 23 equals 1796.3. That's going to be 17. No, I don't want that color. Let's go back. Blue. 1796.3 is equal to, right, 78.1 times 23, right, is equal to that. It can only have 2 sig figs in it. So I'm going to rewrite this as 1.7963 times 10 to the, and this was 1, 2, 3. It's a big number, so I'm going to have to say it's positive 3, okay? And I can only put it to 2 sig figs. So this is going to go to, maybe you already have this, 1.8 times 10 to the 3. Now I'm going to plug these numbers into my actual ALEKS, if that's still up, and see if I get credit for that. The first one's 4.108 times 10 to the 4. 4.108 times 10 to the 4. The next one was 3.1 times 10 to the 2. 3.1 times 10 to the 2. And the last one was 1.8 times 10 to the 3. No, that's not what I want. 1.8 times 10 to the 3. Uh-oh. It's going to be 3, right? Because it's about 80 times 20. Yeah, that's right. Times 10 to the 3. Okay, and the last thing I do before I hit enter, so I'm going to ask myself, do these make sense? This top one doesn't make any sense. I'm so glad I did this again. Look at this. 941 divided by, this is like 1,000. Divided by 50, it's not going to give me 40,000. 41,000, right? That's a mistake. This top one's a mistake. The next one is also a mistake. How is that possible? 234. Oh, yeah, no, that's possible, right? Because it's divided by a number less than 1. 234 divided by 0.76 is 300. Sure, that makes sense. The second one makes sense. And then the last one's going to be a really big number because it's 78, which is about 80, times 23, which is about 20. 80 times 20 is 160. Or 1,600. Yeah, that's about right. All right. So let me come over here. How is this possible? That was a division problem. Okay, so I made a mistake here. And I caught it because I asked myself that at the last minute. I'm going to do that one again. Let me do that one again. I'm not going to do it out by hand right now. I'm just going to come over here. It's 941.4. Let's go back to the calculator. Clear. 941.4 divided by, this time, made that mistake last time, divided by 43.64. 43.64 equals 21. That's more like it. 21.5719. 21.5719. But can only have 4 sig figs. .57 sig figs. There we are. 21.57. Now this was a Freudian slip. Like this was a total accident. I made that mistake, but then I checked it at the last minute, and 941 about 1,000, right, divided by 50 wasn't going to give me a huge number. It gave me a number closer to 20. Okay, so we'll talk about estimations and how to do that later. But that actually saved me trouble this time. I think that's right. Let's check it. And there we go. All right, hope that's helpful. We'll talk in class, or you can ask me for more practice or more ideas. And I just want to keep this video short, so I'm not going to keep talking. Good luck to you.